Hello, how are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. I hope you've been home for at least a minute from the urgent care.
Yes. Thankfully, they were pretty quick. We haven't been able to get her prescription yet, but she just
Okay.
got these bug bites on the back of her legs,
Oh
which,
no.
okay, sure, bug bites. Oh, but it's been 3 days and now like it's from her calf to halfway up her thigh is just like
No.
this
Does she have
giant raised
staph?
welt,
Does she
bruisey
have
looking.
staph?
Huh?
Does she have staph infection?
They're giving her an antibiotic for infection just because of how big it's gotten and it's getting kind of purpley in the middle. It's not good. So yes, they've got her started on something and hopefully that will clear up soon. So
yeah, so fun.
So
It's
fun.
amazing what a little bug bite can do.
And it's just, you see it. It's just this tiny little, looks like a little mosquito bite, but
Yeah. No, my kids have extra sensitive skin. And so when they get a bug bite, they welt like that too, but they're more likely to get staph infection because of that. So
what do you usually do?
Well, so I always take a marker and I measure it and I okay, this is like the date and the time kind of by it. So I know how big it's gotten. And then we just go into the doctor, if it starts showing those signs. But like hydrocortisone cream, because why it gets infected is because they're scratching it.
Yeah. And we've been doing oils, hydrocortisone, afterbite, like all these things. It's just, it like grew an inch in circumference overnight. So I was like, hey, let's go be seen today.
No kidding. Did you give her Benadryl or anything?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yep. You did it all right. Nothing else you can do.
Deal.
So, well, I'm glad you're going to have medicine for her and she should start feeling better because that's miserable.
I know. And it's right at the bend of the back of her, both knees have it. And so it's just these giant, like uncomfortable.
Oh, poor girl. She's probably like, I can't walk.
Yeah. She like tiptoes everywhere because she doesn't want to bend her legs at all.
Oh,
so sad.
Bless her heart. Oh, well, we'll send some energetic connections her way.
Deal.
Fabulous. Well, do you want to start with celebrations today?
Sure. Yes, that sounds great. Okay, definitely celebrating the craft test.
Yes. Oh, that's so exciting.
It is so exciting. That was heavy. Heavier than I wanted it to be, just because apparently I'm the first one ever at the gym to have tested back to back before, where I had just tested at the last round in February and then to do it again at the next available time. Nobody's done that before.
Okay.
So I got a lot of very insecure comments from people that just was surprising. I don't know. So that's been interesting to kind of sift through and just love people where they're at and forgive them for being rude.
Right? Because that probably
I feel awesome,
right?
Yes. And that's like, anyway, but when I talked to the instructor, he's like, you're ready. Like, there's no reason to wait another test period. Like, you're ready now. So do it. And I was like,
that's awesome.
Okay. So that felt really good. Felt kind of cool to be the first to do that.
Yes. That's awesome.
That was fun.
That's so awesome. Yeah. And it looks like you're staying in a beautiful state 80% of the time.
Yes. Today has not felt that way. I will tell you that right now. But overall, yeah, it's been really cool to feel empowered more than disempowered, and just feel patient and accepting and still moving the needle forward where it feels like I can. So
awesome. I love it. I mean, that in and of itself, that beautiful state 80% of the time, what that's going to create in and of itself is going to be magnificent.
Yeah.
So, so also like the having.
Yes. I loved that book.
Good. So you're done.
No, I'm maybe halfway through right now.
Okay. Awesome. Do you feel like it's giving you any insights, or do you feel more like this is just reiterating what I know in a different way?
I love books that also are a story. So it's really speaking well to me, honestly.
Right.
Like I can totally digest like facts and things like that and pick it as like, pick apart each, concept that they're introducing, like that's fine. But when it reads as a story the whole way through, it just resonates so much better for me. And so I feel like I'm soaking up things for the first time, even though I know it's not. I feel like I'm learning a lot.
Awesome. Good. That's so beautiful. Absolutely amazing. Are there any other wins you want to share with me?
Can't even think what happened over the last month. I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Actually, we had talked about the Jeep a bit.
Oh, yes.
And so I've got a whole album on my phone whenever I find something that I'm like, oh, that's going to go on the Wrangler. Oh, that's going to go like,
oh, fun.
I'm just slowly building little screenshots of this dream Jeep.
Awesome.
Anyway,
that's fun. That is super fun. Okay, so let's get into what you want to focus on and what you're bumping up against. So you're still feeling like that impatience, is it coming type feeling, or help me.
I think it's questioning if it's coming. I just am like surprised that it's not here yet.
Okay. What do you feel you did different from last month to this month? What looked different for you?
My content is super different for sure, which has been like, I get lots of like positive responses and comments and new people, new eyes, like, so that's been really exciting. It's just not translating to sales.
Okay.
And I don't know, I feel more disconnected from my upline. The more I become my own brand, the less I gravitate towards her and the way she's coaching. So that's been just interesting to notice.
Okay. I think we talked about this last month when we talked about, is there somebody in your upline that's making what you want to be making, that you could connect with?
Not like I'm in the same like group chats and things as someone that I have in mind. But she just is super scattered with her time. And so it's not someone I could like reliably connect with often, like personally, it's just kind of group settings.
Do you feel like you could reach out to her individually and be like, hey, I'm just picking your brain because you're where I want to be. And because you're in your space, like in my space, I know it's coming, but what are you doing? Can you kind of map out really quickly to me what you're doing on a daily basis? Like, and it doesn't have to be super detailed, but she might throw in a little tweak that you're like, oh, hey, I can tweak like that. And it may make all the difference.
I think I'm also just questioning if I'm honestly in the right field, which I know that I've visited this topic before. Okay. And oh gosh, why is it making me cry? And I always catch myself like perking up anytime I've listened or read the Science of Getting Rich, that he talks about, no one's in the wrong career field, but that they could not get into the right one. And I'm like, oh, that's me. And I'm like, wait, that's me. Like every time I catch myself. And so I think it's just feeling misplaced in my energy to keep building this when I'm feeling like this isn't the empire I'm supposed to be building,
Right. Do you feel like you have direction?
No.
Okay.
Which is very frustrating.
Right. Have you written down kind of like what your passions are?
Not recently.
Okay. I would suggest writing down like, okay, like what are my passions, especially after a meditation?
Okay.
You know, meditate, and then that'll bring you into that receiving mode. And then you'll be able to just really like let those downloads come. And you may be like, oh my gosh, like I didn't realize that I was so passionate about volleyball. That's just what came to my brain. You know, what could I do with volleyball that would create an income? Oh, I could do volleyball camps. I could do this, like I could do that. And it can really get your brain working to solve the problem, if that makes sense. How uncomfortable are you willing to get?
I mean, if it gets me to my result, then let's do it.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Awesome. How much time do you spend in discomfort right now when it comes to reaching your goal?
What do you mean?
Like, so stepping outside of your comfort zone, maybe thinking outside the box, where it's that unknown. How much time are you spending there versus spending in the familiar and the known?
I have no idea. Like I definitely spent, is that different from like imagination playroom as far as unknown? I'm not understanding. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me try to put some thoughts together. Like, okay. So for me, right, when I first started doing reels, that was really uncomfortable. But then I started doing them, and like, I still don't know how to do them, but they're not uncomfortable for me to do anymore, if that makes sense. For me to post one, there's no discomfort. It's now become familiar. So that stretched me, and I grew learning to do those reels. So that's kind of what I'm thinking with you. Like, how much time are you spending in the comfort of, I know how to do this, this works for other people, and that known field versus, okay, what if I step out here, and what if I reach out to LinkedIn? I don't know if you guys use LinkedIn, but do you know what I mean? It's how that's different than your Instagram or your Facebook. And you all of a sudden are like, oh, I'm going to go here and see what I can figure out here. And that provides some discomfort because it's unknown to you.
I gotcha. I do try every day to do at least one thing that scares me or is uncomfortable. Good. So as far as duration, it's kind of different. Sometimes it's like having a clarifying conversation that feels very uncomfortable, or like I've been watching Breezy's dog, and so like taking her dog for a walk feels really scary because I've never had a dog. Like, right, so foreign to me, and it's a pit bull with like way more muscle and way faster than I am, and if she ever got away, right, but like, and so like I'll be like, you know what, we're gonna walk today and it's gonna be great, we're gonna enjoy the fresh, like, so I try to do something every day that scares me. Sometimes that's like content that I'm sharing, or something in my stories that I'm being vulnerable about, like, so it kind of looks different every day, but I try to do something that is scary or uncomfortable.
Awesome. What I'm going to encourage is spending more time in the discomfort, in the unknown.
And how do I so
one of the
usually it kind of just comes, and so
right. So what I would recommend, how long are you meditating every morning?
I'm not huge on like what's the word, structured meditation. Mine is more like I'll be praying and all of a sudden I realize I've been like pondering or meditating for a couple minutes, kind of like it just kind of flows into it. If I'm doing like a guided meditation, that's one thing, but as far as like just sitting and meditating, it's more just kind of all of a sudden I've realized I've been doing it, not right. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay here for 20 minutes because my brain's like, ooh.
Right. Yes, I get that so well. So this is what I'm going to encourage, because that meditation is going to change so much for you, and it's going to put you into the unknown. And it's going to open your mind to those inspired actions that you get to take that will continue to push you into the unknown. So I would start with 10 to 15 minutes, whether you do a guided meditation or you just turn on music and like meditative music.
Okay.
Whatever works best for you. I still have to do a guided meditation. I mean, it's like practice, practice, practice for me. Yeah. But it does, like today, it took me 40 minutes to actually get into a meditative state. And the reason I know it took me 40 minutes is because once I got there, my dog started barking and took me out of it. And I was like, oh crap, you know, but anyway, that, you want to be in that meditative state, ideally till you're in love with your life. Like you actually feel a change in your body and you're like, oh, I'm in love with my life today. You feel, I'm trying to think of the right word to describe, but you no longer feel like your old self.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But because, you know, you're saying, okay, there's a little bit of resistance, and not that you're not willing, but like your brain's going, how am I supposed to do this for 10 to 15 minutes, right? Practice into it, starting at that 10 to 15 minutes and see where you can get. And then if you're feeling really good, don't just, you know, if you can, keep going. But if not, be like, okay, we did 15 minutes and practice and practice and practice that 15 minutes. And afterwards, then go into your prayer. And you can continue your meditation in your prayer, but go into your prayer and the downloads come.
Okay.
And I'm this might sound weird depending on how you pray, but I have a notebook by me because the thoughts come and I just have to write them down. Sometimes it's one thought and sometimes it's 25, like, and then I'm like, if it's a list of 25, I have to be like, okay, God, like what one on this list is most important for me to do today? And, you know, my eyes will be drawn to it. That in and of itself is the unknown, right? Like you don't know what guidance you're going to be given, and it's unfamiliar to you, and it's this uncharted territory. And again, this will soon become familiar. And then you just up that level, like, okay, now what can I do? Can I meditate for 20 minutes and see what occurs? And going into that, it's taught in a sand, but you're like the quantum, where it's just very feminine, very receptive. Your brain just really opens up to so much. It's hard to describe till you have felt it. And you can feel it after 10 to 15 minutes, I promise. But that's what I would encourage you to start doing, is an intentional, and set an intention. So, okay, my intention today is I want guidance and direction on one thing I can do to move the needle forward on my goal. Or maybe your intention is, my intention is I want to be patient and loving with my children. Like whatever that looks like for the day for you, set that intention before you start meditating. Okay. And if you don't do the guided meditation, what you can do is with your intention, like, okay, say you want flow throughout the day, you just say, I am flow. And you breathe and repeat that to yourself for 15 minutes. So does that sound like something?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for that.
I'm like, you're super coachable. So I don't feel like you're like, no, I'm not going to do this. And I want you, like, after about a week of it, I want you to report into me and kind of describe what's going on for you, what's happening. If you're getting those downloads, well, you will be getting, not if, but just kind of keep touch base with me. And then if we need to tweak, and you can touch base before a week, if you're like, hey, this is what's going on, what do I need to tweak? Just stay close as you're experimenting with this meditation and what works for you, because it looks different for all of us. I would suggest sitting up versus laying down. Right. That in and of itself. Yeah, well, so our bodies are used to going into a meditative state when we sleep, right? Like that's what we're doing. So our bodies are used to being laying down to do it. So to make it more powerful, we're shifting our body position, and it's kind of shocking our bodies. Like does that make sense? Like our body's going like, wait, what? So your head might bob. That's a good thing if your head's bobbing. You're like, oh yeah, yeah. And as you feel yourself like all of a sudden flip off and go this way to, oh, I got to send these emails, right? Just bring yourself back. And that's because you're going to do that. Your brain's going to go here and you just bring it back here, just bring it back. Okay. So I think that will be a beautiful thing to add to your morning routine.
Okay.
What else does your morning routine look like?
So I do journal, which is like, I've got gratitudes and brags and desires. I've got my lives that I listen to. I've got scripture, and I usually go in with some kind of question or looking for something, some kind of guidance or message kind of thing in my reading. So sometimes that takes me to like a conference talk or music. And so then I'll write that out. And then my workout. I think that's everything.
Perfect. Awesome. Yep. Adding that like actual intentional meditation is going to just up your morning routine. It's just going to take it up a notch and you'll up level right there with it. So that's going to be awesome. I'm excited for you. How do you feel like your hold on the outcome is doing? Do you feel like you're like in a death grip with it? Do you feel like you've released that, but maybe still holding it tight?
Still looking forward to it,
okay.
But I don't feel like I'm in that need anymore. Like the having is helping a lot with that actually of,
yes,
if I had $1, like, could I have it? You know, I have, anyway. So yeah, feeling a lot better with that.
Awesome. Yay. That's a huge win.
That's also where I'm like worried, not worried, that's not the word, questioning if that is going to lead me to settling.
Yeah. So you're afraid that more, okay. So what would settling look like to you?
Staying as I am and being content.
Okay.
Because I have everything, so I'm fine. Like,
right.
I worry that that's going to go there.
Okay. What does growth look like to you?
My goal card and my vision board and being me at my truest, highest self. That's growth.
Okay. So when you wake up in the day, do you feel like you make choices towards settling, or are you making choices that take you towards growth?
This is where my brain kicks in and says, oh yeah, you're doing everything, but yet you're the same. Like,
but are you?
Financially, yeah. I look at money differently. I spend it different. I feel different about it. If you look at the bank account, it's the same. And that's very disheartening.
Yeah.
That's why I signed up for this.
Right. When you're thinking differently and feeling differently, and do you see that means it's coming? Do you connect those pieces to it's on its way?
Not specifically.
So
no,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's where I'm just surprised this is not here yet. So like, this is
right.
Weird.
So how often are you focusing on that surprise of it's not here yet versus focusing on the feeling differently about money, the thinking differently about money, the spending differently about money?
Definitely more so in a beautiful state, but the suffering state of still not here, like it does sneak in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Our minds are little turkeys like that. Do you have a pattern interrupt for when it does sneak in?
It's here or it's on its way. It's law. Like I just tell myself that all the time. It's law.
Good. Good. Yeah. Yes. Do you believe it?
to a degree. And then again, my logic brain is like, but then where is it?
So let me ask this. Do you, when you think of God, do you feel like God is a God of abundance and blessings and that he wants to give you those things? Or do you believe more like, okay, God's will is that I don't get my goal card?
Oh no, I fully believe if it's on my heart, it's there for a reason.
Okay.
It's not a carrot teasing me saying, keep looking, you'll get it never. Like
Good.
that's not how it works.
Okay. Beautiful. I'm so glad that you know that. That I should have written down where that was taking me to because it left my brain for a second. But I love that you connect that God puts desires on our hearts for a reason. Let me think for 1 second. I'm gonna click. Oh, celebration. How often do you celebrate?
Not as often as I used to or have in the past. I definitely acknowledge like little things. Like I don't have a specific like time of day or anything. It'll just be like, wow, I handled that really well. Or like, okay, I could have like totally ripped that guy's head off, but instead I just smiled and said, have a good day. You know, like right. I'll do little things. I'll do like little acknowledgements to myself. So I guess it just depends on what grand way of celebrating you're thinking.
Right. Well, so I would start celebrating more, especially around money. Like, oh, I found a nickel. This means God loves me. Like something like that, or like a $10 check comes or whatever it looks like, or, oh, I got a customer. Like start celebrating those in a way that you legitimately feel your energy shift. Celebration is the highest form of gratitude. So you're going to, like gratitude is like the best way to shift your energy. So by celebrating, you're going to amplify that shift of energy. So everything that you can think of, like I would have, whether you do a dance or you swing your kids around or whatever you do when you get a new customer, I would have a celebration for that. If an unexpected order, I would have a celebration for that. Have a celebration, like, even though you're probably perfect at doing your exercise, but have a celebration for that. Like, even if it's just like, oh, I did that today. Like I chose the hard and I did that today. Just start celebrating yourself in every way that you can. Celebrate with your kids, make that fun, like get them involved and you'll watch the whole energy just shift. Like I believe with all my heart, this is right around the corner for you, but you get to make a decision. Like you get to decide that it's there. And then once you've decided that, you get to recommit to that. Every time that those little sneaky thoughts come in your mind, you get to recommit to, nope, I know it's there. Not even it's coming. I know it's there. When you do your gratitude, do you thank God for things that are coming?
I have not. I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing to do too. Interestingly, like you said, you do your desires, like, but if you're like, thank you so much that I got 2 new customers this month. And every day I'm so grateful I received 2 new customers this month, or whatever that looks like for you. It feels so weird to write it because you know it's not here yet, but you're calling it into you by thanking God in advance for it. And then reverently demanding. Do you remember hearing Allison talk about that?
Isn't that what her I think I remember the story where her husband was saying like, you must provide because something for
Yeah.
Robert-ish.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I want you to start doing with God too, is reverently demanding that, Heavenly Father, you put this on my heart, and I demand that this goal comes to fruition. Like, one of the biggest, I think, gaps that we have is that hesitancy to ask God for the big things. For lots of different reasons. We have different people's beliefs that have been piled on us. We have our own worth beliefs. We have our own just set of everything. So just starting to reverently demand things from him, like, hey, help me connect with one new person today. How do you convert your like conversations to a sale?
Usually I just can feel it, or something that they've said to me is like a buzzword of like, okay, they're ready. Like,
okay,
I just kind of wait for the signal in whatever way it comes, and then we approach things that way.
Okay. How long do you spend in nurturing?
It's really different. Like, there's not any one set time frame.
Okay.
I've got some people that right away, like, they'll come to me. Some people right away, it's organic that I'm like connecting with them on things, and then they just translate that right into like, tell me more about your workout. Like, sometimes it's really natural. Other times, if it's kind of just cold, but I can tell that they're my person. Usually that if I'm actively nurturing them within 3 weeks.
Okay. Do you give them a call to action pretty quick?
When that conversation starts, yeah.
Okay. So what kind of call to action are you giving them?
Usually it will be, most people are more wanting the fitness side rather than the nutrition side.
Okay.
And so with that, it would be, I'll give them a rundown of our different programs that I have a free sample for, and they pick which one they connect with the most. They do that one, and then they follow up with me to let me know how they thought about it, what they felt, would they want to do the whole program, was it not their cup of tea, kind of thing.
Okay. In the follow-up, do you ask them specific, like, do you say what can we get you signed up with?
I don't think that's the wording I've used, but it's, yeah, like, you sound like you're ready, so let's do this, and then you get access to everything.
Awesome. So you've got good, like, the call to action. I wanted to make sure you had that going well, because lots of people think they have a call to action and they don't, but it sounds like you've got a really good call to action to get them started and going. Do you feel like the story of your brand, like who your ideal client is?
Oh yeah.
When do you feel like, okay, usually people have an external problem, but they buy because of an internal issue. Does that make sense?
Mm-mm.
So let me put this, CarMax. Okay. If I say CarMax, what do you think?
Selling my car.
Okay. Selling your car. Have you seen a CarMax commercial lately, or do you remember one?
Vaguely, sure.
Okay. So this may not be the best example, but it's the one I can think off the top of my head. So the external problem is you need a car, right? You're either going to buy or sell your car. The internal problem is that the customer doesn't want to deal with haggling and slimy salespeople, right? Okay. So CarMax, the internal problem they're solving is they don't haggle on their prices. You go in there, if it says $24.99, it's $24.99. They don't go up, they don't go down. Like, that's the price you're going to get. And it's very minimal contact with a salesperson. So they're like a multi-billion-dollar company now, but that's because they looked at the external program and then they went in to solve that internal program, because that's why customers are buying. So to me, a lot of people, like when they're trying to get healthy and they're trying to get fit, most often there's a self-worth issue going on, an enoughness issue going on. So if you can tie in how your program helps with that and solve that internal problem, or you'll know better than me because you deal with more people if that's the real issue. That's just my thought off the top of my head, that that's kind of the internal program that people are facing when wanting to be more healthy and more fit. But really finding out like, okay, what is that internal program and how can I appeal to that internal program versus the external program is they want a program to follow, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, giving them a program to follow is super easy. Helping them feel more self-confident, that's not so easy, right? But it's definitely something that you address. And as their coach, you can help them with.
Okay.
Do you find that helpful?
I do. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And really quick, do you have like blue and purple in your hair, or is it just the lighting?
Just the lighting.
Okay. I was like, you've gone breezy.
No, it just highlights.
That's funny. I was like, all of a sudden it just looks blue and purple.
So funny.
So, do you feel like you have action steps to take to start moving that needle forward on reaching your goal?
Yes, I'm really excited to implement the meditation and welcome some more unknown funness.
Yes. Oh, the more like everything you want is created in the unknown, everything. So the more time you spend there, the more what you want is going to come. So being uncomfortable, like spending time in that discomfort, really pushing yourself and growing is where the magic, the true magic just starts to happen. So, and continue to like trust yourself. That's what I feel like, all these questions I'm asking you, you've got a firm, solid foundation. You know what you're doing it well. So continue to trust that what you're doing works, because what you're doing is what everybody else is doing too. That has what you want. And if you can find little tweaks that they might be doing that you're not doing, that'll be super valuable too.
Okay.
So, and I want to see you hit this goal.
You do.
It's coming. I just know it. So, really quickly, I know we're over time. Are you okay for a second?
Yes, if you are, I'm sorry.
Yes. Oh, we only have like 1:20 because Zoom changed before they'll cut us off. You're coming up for renewal.
Yes.
Are you wanting to do a renewal call, or what are you thinking that way?
I have no idea yet. What is the date? So I know
So it will be July 15th.
Okay.
And I'm more than happy. What would happen is we can do it this month or we can do it next month. We would have another call, but instead of an implementation call, we would focus just on renewal, what you're bumping up against, like what you're looking forward to, because you're definitely an Ascend candidate. That's what I would recommend for you. So think about that. Think about what you're wanting. You don't have to do Ascend. You can always repeat Rise Up. But just start thinking about that. And then I would love to do a call with you and talk through anything. It's not a salesy call. It's just, if you want it and you're bumping up against things, let's help you through that.
Okay. Because I'm not even sure what the main differences are other than there's another call they get or something. I don't know, but we can talk about it more.